President Trump returning from his first international trip to a sea of uncertainty in Washington this week. Tax reform, health care, and the budget are all in limbo as partisan investigations dominate D.C. Joining me now is Home Depot co-founder Ken Langone. And Ken, it is great to have you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So as a businessman out there, obviously you operate in business and you know you can't spend too much. You've got to make sure to pay debts. You've got to make sure to create jobs. What's the state of Washington today?
Chaotic.
That's what it sounds like.
Every place you look, chaotic.
Why?
The wheels have come off. I understand the Democrats being obstructionists. I understand the Democrats seeking an identity. Right now, they want to be relevant. The best way they can be relevant in their minds, I don't agree with it, is to be an obstructionist. Say, we stop this, we stop that, we stop that. The Republicans, on the other hand, have skin in the game. We'll, in my opinion, if we don't get some significant things done, we'll lose control of the House next year. I think the Senate will be safe, largely because they've got more seats up than we do, and they're more vulnerable than we are.
Yeah, but that's the point. If they don't get something done, they lose seats in the House. Fine.
Control, though. They lose
control of the House. But what about the economy? I mean, if we don't see tax reform getting done, it's going to be bigger implications than just these guys losing control of the House.
Look, you go back to the campaign last year, a lot of noise was made about tax reform, about the horrendous nature of health care in America today, the Affordable Care Act, immigration issues, the environment. You got to deliver on something. The American people last November, in my mind, did a very dramatic thing. They elected a man who the Republicans didn't want, the Democrats didn't want, the media, God forbid, the media want full force. What the media is doing right now is trying to, again, establish their relevance, because what happened last November was the public said, the hell with you, media, I'm voting the way I want to vote, and they were shocked.
Yeah.
It was that simple.
Well, the media really does not like President Trump.
They hate him.
Yeah.
They hate him.
When you look at something like a CNN or an MSNBC, the banners.
Bob Woodward. Look at what Bob Woodward said about the way the media is acting now. Where's the objectivity? I haven't seen one headline on the front page, although I read it less and less. So when I read the New York Times, which is less frequent than I used to, the headlines in the front are more, rather than an objective statement of fact,
they're nasty.
They're subjective.
They are.
They're like the editorial page.
You're right. So what do you think is going to happen? I had Ron DeSantis on from the Freedom Caucus, Congressman DeSantis on Friday or last week, and he basically said, we're going to get tax reform done. Do you believe it? Do you think we will get tax reform done? And what are the implications of it?
Well, they're going to get something. They're going to claim to be tax reform done.
Maybe it'll be tax cuts.
Well, but the opportunity to really do something meaningful, something that could be a sea change, they're going to blow it. And this is a great opportunity. And let's start with where we need to address first, in my opinion, the little guy. Forget about me.
The small business owner?
The small business owner.
And the individual.
The individual that last November said, hey, guys, don't forget me. I'm going to make sure you don't forget me. I'm voting a certain, and they did. Everybody, the thing I don't understand about our politicians, Maria, people don't understand that the public has spoken loud and clear. This was a major, major cataclysmic event.
Yeah, which is why I think it's a head-scratcher to see Chuck Schumer and the Democrats pushing back and being obstructionists, because they're basically saying, no, America, you voted for something, but we're not going to participate.
The Democrats are seeking relevance. They want to still be relevant. I don't think they're doing it the right way, and I think the American people are going to see through it all, but that doesn't help the plight of the American people.
Let me ask you about tax reform, because you've been pretty vocal on this. You think a border adjustment tax is a good idea?
I think if they implement a border adjustment tax where it phases in, I think it's a wonderful idea. And I'm saying this as a retailer. I think all my brethren in the retail business, I think if they look hard, every time we can put more money in our customers' pockets, and in the case of Home Depot, anytime we can put more money in the envelopes of our associates, we win.
What about the automakers who say, look, I've got components that go across the border 6, 7 times. If you've got a certain component that has to go in the chair, but the chair is made in Mexico, you know, the seat, the driver's seat, that's made in Mexico, you got to send those components to Mexico, and then they have to come back as a seat, which is going to go into the car. I mean, how about that? I mean, that's why the automakers are saying the Border Adjustment Act is going to get too confusing.
I plead guilty. I don't know how to do it structurally, but it seems to me, if I just heard what you said, it goes across the border at a certain value, and then it comes back at a higher value because they add something to it. Well, that difference, to me, would be where there would be a border adjustment. Now, I don't know if that will work.
They'll adjust it, is the point.
I'm saying to you, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Right now, we've got kids spitting at each other in Washington. That's what we've got going on in America. 2 kids in a play yard throwing mud and spitting at each other.
How did this happen, Ken? They used to go for a coffee together. They used to talk about policy offline. They hate each other, both sides.
It happened, Maria, when people realized they could manipulate the American people, except it's now backed up on them. The Democrats got their dose. Who would have thought, 7 o'clock election night last year, who the hell would have thought Donald Trump would be the president of the United States the next morning?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? He did. And the Russians didn't do it.